What was your visceral reaction when you heard Dre, knowing him, that he had punched Poole?
So you hear the story and you go, okay, they had some kind of dust up, right?
Yeah.
Then you see the video, and then that changes everything, right? You see the video and you go, man, it's a bad look. It's a bad look for everybody. I felt bad for Jordan Poole. I felt bad for Dre putting himself in that position. So it's just a bad look all around. Nothing good comes out of that. Hopefully those guys can pick it up and move on. But it was just a tough look to have to see, and knowing Dre the way I know him, it's just a tough look.
And knowing Dre, and I know how fond you are of Draymond, do you agree that the Warriors should have handled it, or do you believe that the league should have?
So I do believe that the Warriors should handle it. So look, when I was running the Pistons, right, we had situations behind the scenes, things happen.
Right.
You, as an organization, you're building a culture, right? You're building the culture in your building. You know how to handle your culture. So for me, I would have hated if the league would have came in or stepped in, Stephen, every time we had an issue at shoot-around, or practice, or on the bus, or an argument or something. You don't really need the league. You don't need Big Brother. And so I think every organization, they know their culture. They know how to handle their culture. So I don't think the league should be stepping in on every single thing that happens.
I got to ask you this, too, and before I ask you, I'll give you a little history, a little background history of me and Joe D. So the malice at the palace from years ago, we see that, and our initial reaction was, who the hell threw the cup on Ron Artest? Who did that to him or whatever? I'm on TV at the time. Who the hell did it? First call I got was from this man. Can't do that. No business for something like that happening. You cannot go into the stands.
Right.
That was Joe doing. First, I mean, literally my phone was ringing in 60 seconds. And I had to correct myself to make sure, because that's how far back me and this man go.
Yes, we do.
I preface that because I want to ask you this question. As the executive VP of the NBA, you're the guy, you're the czar now. You're the man in charge of disciplinary action. How do you feel about where the league is as it pertains to player reaction to some of the things that fans try to engage them in? Because we've seen Russell Westbrook have, a couple, he had to be restrained. I didn't blame him, because they threw something on them. And you had LeBron walk over and had two people escorted out of an arena in Atlanta and stuff like that. Based on your years as the executive in Detroit compared to what you're seeing now in NBA arenas, is there a concern, or do you think that that's being overblown as it pertains to athlete-audience interaction?
I think there's a lot more interaction, good and bad. I think that the players now have to be way more cognizant of how they react, because fans react differently now. And the things people are saying now, it's a lot more now.
Social media.
Phones are everywhere.
Exactly. And
Nothing's private anymore.
Nothing's private. And so I think players now have to be a little bit smarter. They have to be a little bit more cognizant that, look, I can't react to everything because somebody has a camera phone and it's going to go viral and I'm going to put myself in a tough position. So, Stephen, I do think that there's a lot more going on today than when I played in terms of fans and social media. There was no social media. And so I do think the players just have to be a little bit smarter than probably they had to in the past, because, I mean, look, it's jumping off, man. It jumps off quickly, and the next thing you know, you're viral.
The reason why the video changed everything for the Draymond situation was because fans thought it was just a scuffle. We heard there was a punch thrown, but we thought both guys were throwing punches, one connected, and it wasn't that big of a deal. The guys are separated, and we move on. But the video shows that Draymond clocked him in the face, knocked him down, and was going to keep punching him until a crowd formed. And that's why it's so different from what we thought. And don't let NBA players fool you. They say this happens all the time. The fans are overreacting. If that was the case, then why did KD say he's never seen that before?
I would say that that happens a lot in the NBA. I had never seen nothing like that before.
And how come it's still such a big deal?
This is the biggest crisis that we've ever had.
That MJ punched Steve Kerr. If it happened all the time, there'd be plenty of stories like that. But still, it's connected to Steve Kerr's entire career. We all know scuffles happen. They happen almost every game. They happen in sports. But that wasn't a scuffle. That was Draymond knocking him down. He almost knocked him out. And even Richard Jefferson backtracked. He said it happens all the time, but now says he's only seen it 3 times in his entire career, and none of them were quite like that. Altercations, scuffles, people disagreeing with each other, that happens all the time. But what we saw in that video doesn't happen a lot. You don't see a guy with his hands down getting clocked in the face like that. That's exactly why the Warriors were looking into punishing Draymond Green. I know they didn't, and he just took some time away, but that's mainly because Jordan Poole was okay with playing with Draymond. If he wasn't, the Warriors absolutely would have suspended him. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of Joe Dumars addressing the Draymond situation. And leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more NBA content just like this. And I will see you in the next upload.